All right, today we're diving into some truly incredible stories of Canadian courage from the Korean War. And we're going straight to the source for this one, pulling directly from official citations and historical records. But before we get into the details, I want you to think about something, just for a second. What does true courage actually look like? Is it some big, flashy, cinematic moment, or is it something different? Just kind of keep that question in the back of your mind as we explore these stories together. It's kind of sad, but the Korean War often gets called the Forgotten War. It's just overshadowed by other major conflicts in our history books. But believe me, for the people who were actually there, and for their families, it was anything but forgettable. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to peel back that label and get into the real human stories. Okay, so first up, leadership under intense fire. We're talking about commanders who led it from the very front. Because let's be real, in the absolute chaos of a firefight, real leadership isn't about shouting orders from the back. It's about being right there, sharing every single risk with your soldiers. So let's put a spotlight on Major George. He's a company commander with the Princess Patricia's Canadian Light Infantry. Now, picture this. It's a night raid. They're going up against a heavily defended enemy hill. And the real kicker? This position is brand new, so they have absolutely no idea what they're walking into. And listen to this. This is from the actual citation. His platoon gets totally pinned down by a machine gun bunker. So what does Major George do? He doesn't just get on the radio. No way. He crawls forward himself, rushes the bunker, and then, while he's completely out in the open, he calmly directs and corrects the tank fire until it's smashing right into that bunker. I mean, the word calmly in that sentence, it's just mind-blowing, isn't it? And it doesn't even stop there. This guy's commitment is just on another level. So after he deals with that bunker, he gets hit, wounded, by a grenade fragment in the neck. Does that slow him down? Not a chance. He keeps going, oversees the rest of the attack, and then manages the withdrawal. And get this, he makes sure every single wounded soldier is evacuated before he even thinks about himself. He was the very last one off that position. Now that is what leadership under fire looks like. All right, so that's leadership from the top. But courage isn't just about commanders, right? Let's talk about those extraordinary moments of bravery from enlisted soldiers. Those split-second decisions where pure guts and instinct just completely take over. Okay, let me introduce you to Corporal J.G. Dunbar. He's the second in command of a fighting patrol, and they've got a really dangerous mission. Engage the enemy on a spot they called Boot Hill. As you can probably guess, things go wrong. The patrol gets hammered by enemy fire, and their commander is hit. Badly, multiple times. So the order comes to pull back, and the wounded officer, he knows he's a liability. He actually orders Corporal Dunbar to leave him behind and save himself. But Dunbar just refuses to do it. The citation gives us this unbelievable image. He gets some guys to lay down covering fire, then runs back into that storm of bullets, hoists his 200-pound officer onto his shoulders, and carries him 100 yards to relative safety.
Let's just break down what he did there. He's organizing the evacuation for everyone else, while under fire. He finds his officer, who's gravely wounded. He then deliberately defies a direct order to save his own skin, and then he orchestrates the entire rescue. The citation is crystal clear. Without Corporal Dunbar, his officer would have died. Period.
And this kind of bravery, it just keeps popping up. Let's turn to Private Bauer, a Bren gunner. His story is all about sheer, dogged tenacity when absolutely everything is going wrong. His section is getting hammered by not one, not two, but 3 separate enemy attacks. Seriously, just try to imagine this. You're holding the line, your main weapon, the Bren gun, jams right in the middle of an attack. What do? Well, what Private Bauer did was grab a Sten gun and move forward, out of his trench, into an even more exposed spot to cover a gap in the wire. He made himself a bigger target to protect everyone else. And the guy was just relentless. He fights off 2 attacks. His weapon jams, he grabs another and moves into the open. And then during the 3rd attack, he's moving all around his section, encouraging the other guys, directing their fire. The citation says he was an inspiration to all ranks, and you can totally see why. When you see a medal bar like this, it's the official recognition, right? It's the symbol for this kind of bravery. But you have to remember, for every story we're telling, for every George, Dunbar, and Bauer, there are thousands more. Every single one of these medals tells a unique story, a different moment where someone stepped up. But, heroism isn't only about the soldiers in the trenches with rifles. Not at all. A modern army is a massive machine, and it relies on a huge support network to even function. So let's talk about the folks who are the real backbone of the brigade, the medics and the engineers. And here you see two totally different but equally vital kinds of courage. You've got the medic, running towards the danger to save a life. And then you've got the engineer, building the very infrastructure needed for victory, often under that exact same threat. Both were absolutely crucial. Okay, let's focus on the medic first. Meet Corporal Brayton. He gets thrown into a complete nightmare scenario. His platoon is hit hard, and suddenly they have 17 casualties. His reaction? It was instant, and it was completely selfless. I mean, just look at what this man did. He went forward, under heavy shelling, to get to wounded soldiers. He moved all over the platoon's position, treating the injured, dragging them into shelter, completely ignoring the danger to himself. But here's the other part. His calm confidence was infectious. He actually cheered up the guys who weren't hurt. So he wasn't just saving lives, he was saving the entire platoon's morale. All right, now let's switch gears to the engineer, Major Galway. He was in command of a field squadron. His job wasn't about direct combat. It was about building and maintaining everything that let the army actually fight. Roads, bridges, defenses, and he had to do it in terrible conditions, often with enemy shells coming down. The key thing here is the sustained excellence, day in and day out under constant pressure. Sure, his citation talks about sound planning and competent direction, but it also makes a point of saying he did his own recon and supervision, often under enemy fire. This wasn't a guy sitting in a safe command post. He was out there, making sure the job got done right, no matter the risk. And you know, this incredible bravery didn't just stay a Canadian secret. It was noticed. What we're looking at here are Belgian medals that were awarded to a Canadian officer. It's a really powerful reminder that this was a United Nations effort, and the courage of Canadian soldiers was absolutely recognized by their allies on the world stage. So, let's bring it all together. You take all these stories, the commander, the corporal, the private, the medic, the engineer, what do you get when you put them all side by side? You get a legacy, a powerful legacy of sacrifice and just extraordinary human character. And I think this really gets to the core of it all. Heroism isn't just one thing. It's not a single act. It's the leader directing tank fire. It's the soldier refusing to leave his friend behind. It's the medic tending to the wounded under shelling. And it's the engineer building a road while being shot at. It's 1,000 different actions, big and small, that together create this incredible legacy. And that brings us full circle, right back to that question I asked at the beginning. We've seen what courage looks like in so many different forms. So now, the final question, the one for us to think about, is this. In a time when this conflict is so often called the forgotten war, how do we make sure that these stories, and the amazing people in them, are never, ever forgotten?